plants they have in behind the eyes?
No, Pearl Harbor was a major military base. The Japanese bombed the living crap out of one Sunday morning.
No, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, you are. You're thinking what happened afterward.
Yeah.
Where we held Americans of Japanese descent in France, which was
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly.
okay. Had no purpose in doing so.
Yeah.
Now,
That was just cruel.
well, yeah, but we didn't know that at the time. I mean, literally. Okay. So we're going to bomb Pearl Harbor. Okay. However, I need to. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that gets touchy. It gets touchy between people. They say, "Well, it was American imperialism caused the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor." And all I can think is, "Are you out of your skull?"
Right.
Okay. Well, what happened was it was Japanese imperialism. Japan was invading China, killing literally millions, and we decided we didn't want to sell them any oil or gas anymore.
No, geez.
So the oil from California, and the British decided the same thing. Well, that left the Japanese to the point is, well, where are we going to get our oil and gas? Oh, we'll get it from
Somewhere
Borneo.
else.
Just a minute, we'll get it from Borneo. But since Borneo is controlled by the Dutch and the British, guess what? We'll take it. They're just going to take it. But guess what's in between Borneo and Japan? The Philippines. So, whoop, they were going to go somewhere. But Japan was, you know what? How much oil they had saved up, ready for a war? They were at 70%.
Yeah. What?
That's all they were, was at 70%. They were dead. They didn't have enough oil stockpiled.
That's not even.
They were dead meat. They were
Yeah.
they were smoking stuff. Literally, when they went to war, they had no chance.
No.
They concocted this idea that we'd surrender immediately. The admiral who planned the attack, basically had gone to school in California. He said, "Not gonna happen. I'll run rampant throughout the entire Pacific for 6 months. After that, we're dead." Guess what? He had to pay. Rampant for 6 months. Especially when 60% of all American supplies went to Europe. All the American effort went to Europe, not to the Pacific.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, 60% went to Europe because Hitler's the main threat.
Oh yeah.
Japan, they got the afterthought. We got the Navy though. But that's even then we fought on a shoestring for quite a while. And then just steamroller. I mean, beginning 1944 and just
Kapowie.
That was a little bit after B-29.
well, B-29 didn't come out until late 44. No, what they started getting nailed was basically 42 was kind of a lot of naval battles, and we didn't always come out on top. In fact, half the time we didn't. So both of us had wiped these other carriers out for the most part. We had a couple left, and they had a couple left. And we sunk large numbers of other ships. So 1943 was mostly everybody's catching their breath. But Japan, its construction, they just can't do much. Where are they going to get their steel? They had to get from the United States or Russia. Russia was, oh yeah, we'll sell you some here and there, and a little bit here, and a little bit there.
Yeah, they didn't actually have a constant supply.
No, so they weren't, and they also lost a lot of pilots in 43. And 44, when it came out, they got kind of a fleet that they still had most of their heavy cruisers, getting some more carriers into action, but the pilots are really crappy by the time because they never had good training. So we could train guys by the tens of thousands. They could train them by 50 here, 50 there.
Is that
Basically,
because
they
right
just got
technology
smashed.
or
They just got
just
smashed after that?
Yeah.
2 big fleet battles, it was all over.
Is it because that we have more like people, or that we have more tactics?
We have a far bigger industrial and resource base, but there are also tactics. Japan.
So it was mainly resources.
No sleeper. We also had the idea. Well, let's put it this way: they had better fighters at the beginning part of the war, much more maneuverable, longer range. still very fragile, but they were much more maneuverable. We learned how to fight it. Basically, is one wildcat versus a zero, the wildcat's dead meat.
Yeah.
Two wildcats versus two zeros, the zeros are dead meat. Why? Because they had tactics.
Yeah.
The fact we see zero pilots in Japan. This is something that was noted by Subaru Sakai, the highest ranking surviving ace, and he only survived because he lost sight of one eye in the battle over Guadalcanal, and so he was never on the front line all the time. I shouldn't say never, occasionally he was, but he was partially disabled. Basically said that Japan, with the world's most conformist society, wants to abandon the fighter pilot who is impossible control. So basically, we didn't cooperate. America is with the most individual society on God's green earth. Had no problem with teamwork. Go figure. It just didn't make any sense.
Right.
So the Japanese pilots,
Figured.
they basically, once they're in the air, basically a stiff middle finger to authority. They're kings. The Americans, once they're in the air, okay, dude, you cover my back, I'm covering yours, right? Thatch weave. I'll clear your six, you clear my six. And the Japanese, and of course, then the Americans came out with the planes. Never as maneuverable as the zero, but far more powerful. So basically, the zero's coming in, let's see, at 320 miles an hour, and you've got a Corsair at 420, just zooming past. There's no dogfight here. It's just shoot past, and then coming back for another pass. When you can outspeed by somebody by 50 to 100 miles an hour, what are they going to do about it? Okay.
Not much.
Yeah, they had real problems. So,
yeah,
they died. They died in large numbers, and they had the same.
They went
The planes they ended the war with were the same, pretty much the same as they started the war with. The planes we started the war with, not many of them are flying because we replaced them all with newer types of aircraft. So, yeah, it's just that type of thing, and many, many more. We built 400,000 planes in the war.
Really?
400,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And considering what happened to a lot of them.
Well, we think it was 7,000 B-7, 7,000 B-17s were built, 3,000 I think were shot down.
Yeah. Ridiculous number of B-24s crashed.
Well, planes crashed all the time just for the sheer hell of it. Okay, they were scattered all over the world. Planes that just, nowadays a plane crashes, there's an investigation and everything because it's a 20 million or 30 million for, or in the case of a B-2, a $1.5 billion plane, $25 piece went bad and $2.5 billion go up in smoke. No, $1.5 billion. So, Japanese tactics strategy was miserable. They started the naval war. They did pretty good. The night fighting was excellent because the new binoculars, high level training, and the long lance torpedoes. Oh my God, those things were deadly. Fast, long range, huge warhead, and they always went off. Ours were slow, erratic, short range, and half the time they didn't go off. By 1940, thing changes when we have finally fixed the torpedoes. They're not nearly like long lances. Long lances are really special. The Japanese put a lot of effort into those, because they have smaller fleet than we did. So they really put a lot. But we have radar.
Well, you would think they ought to because they didn't.
Yeah, we didn't understand how deadly those things were until we lost battle after battle. There we are, way out of range. All of a sudden, our ships are blowing up. Not good. Or they just now launched. We know they just now launched. How fast are those things? Not until we found one of them parked up on a beach, and so we managed to disassemble them without blowing themselves up. We figured out, holy crap, this thing's fast.
Right, now you get some hold of it.
1,000-pound warhead.
Jesus.
Yep. They had all sorts of innovations. Japanese did all sorts of innovations, but just American technical knowledge just crunched. The Germans, now they had some good stuff.
They had some weird yet
Yeah,
really
but,
like.
well, they put so much into R&D though. They didn't get it much into action. They were
They had so many plans on so many levels, but just
yeah,
never
they
put
wasted
it
their
into-
time. They spun their wheels, man.
Exactly.
They did stupid things. You're building okay, you're building a 320-ton tank. Are you kidding me? Okay, you can't move the thing.
Exactly.
Once you hit the mud, it's all over. The thing will sink 40 feet in. Okay, you can't do that. Or their insistence when they came out with their heavy bomber, which was a 4-engine plane with only 2 propellers. You had basically engines mated. Well, the British were doing the same thing with the Manchester.
Yeah.
The British, they started noticing the engines would go kablowy, and the plane would dive in, on landing and takeoff. They said, okay, this is it. We're junking it. We'll take the basic airframe, put 2 more regular engines on it, so we'll have 4 regular in more conventional form, and we'll just go it that way. Lancaster bomber. They flattened Germany with that bomber.
Yeah.
Germans, we'll fix it. We'll make it work. Make it work. Make it work. Make it work.
But never did.
Never did. Well, they actually did finally produce one with the all 4 regular
With the
engines,
technology.
just in time for the Americans to overrun the airfield in France where it was being tested, and I think Americans did the first test flight of it.
With the plans that the Germans had and the ideas they had, could they have built like some type of device that could have or may have at least measured time or like stop time?
No, nobody can do that.
That's all.
They were. The thing of it is, the Germans were dead from the beginning. When all the world's scientists were gathered in the United States for the Manhattan Project, that was it. That by itself. We spent 10% of the entire war effort's electricity on the Manhattan Project.
Really?
You know what the Manhattan Project is, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that just it. That was just it.
I was about to say,
Okay. And all those scientists were so
How many
disappointed
more
when
minutes
Germany
until
surrendered.
class is over?
What?
How many? 7.
Okay.
why is it going so slow? You turn the sensitivity down or something?
Is that really?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect through.
That's what I was gonna say. Beautiful.
My dad gave this to my mom. Her first phone does it. And this is still luxury. It's 2 different.
What's the red? Is that?
I don't know. It's a really-
I guess maybe a movie or a sapphire.
B-24 was a pretty good bomb bus.
Yeah.
It
It was also, it was also called the constipated lumber. Is it watching me?
What?
Is it watching me?
Yeah, that's one of those.
Why is the mouse sensitivity so off?
Because of the table, what the table's made of.
All you gotta do is just press it. Actually, see, that's better.
No, I don't know what to say. Have a good day now. Thank you.
It looks like you're playing.
Mr. Barlow.
Mhm.
I talked to Miss Lucy and she signed it.
Okay.
Luckily, I didn't bite my head off.
I don't know. I think you got to catch before coffee or after coffee.
After class, yeah, she was in a good mood because she was talking about her favorite films.
See, somebody asked me, what political party do you belong to, Mr. Warren? I says, well, before I have my coffee or after my coffee. Before coffee, I'm a diehard Republican. After my coffee, I go all out of it. That's terrible. Good. True.
Dude, I hate the mouse sensitivity so bad.
Frank, hold it right. Not here today. Okay. No Frank today. No Mr. Peterson.
Hey, you know how on the first question for Bertho it says find 5 shots of a person falling figuratively and physically? What is figuratively? What does that mean?
Figuratively means like
They're not actually falling?
no.
Stop.
Figuratively
What the
means like say if you're like falling in love, that's figurative.
Oh,
Figurative.
so that's one of them? Would you say that's one of them
I wouldn't, maybe I
The
didn't put it
table
down.
is
But I'm
also
saying,
that
I'm
mouse.
saying figuratively means you're speaking.
then? Falling.
Well, no, it was just I didn't realize it, but the paper is had stinks.
Figuratively, not
Because the
physically.
papers, because the
You're like,
papers working.
say you're falling.
Then what did you write down for that?
Oh, I wrote down. I'll remember. I'll have to.
Okay, folks, I need you to use the restroom. I need you out. Need you out. Let's go. Out.
Any-
Bradley.
Yep,
Okay,
I
move
know.
down quick. Okay, you need your phone. Okay, there you go, young lady. Guys, go.
Then you dropped your pen.
Is my stuff gonna be safe? I don't leave it in here.
Huh?
Is my stuff gonna be safe?
Yeah, but nobody else is coming out with this.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Ben, where the heck you going? Let's go. Okay. Let me use the restroom there.
such a gentleman.
You know what? That's not the first time he's done it either.
Oh my
I
god.
do it for my grandma all the time.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
nice.
You're hurting my brain.
That's
I've never-
nice.
I've never heard you.
Have you ever opened the door for your mom?
Right.
Always. She can open it herself.
I thought she's disabled. You have to open the door for your mom.
No, she's able.
Able?
Ryan.
No, what Ryan did to us, she was enabled.
Okay, you can take that off just so I know we've got plastic cover there now.
I have an air horn.
Hey, look, Mr. Barlow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good, you got one too.
I did, but I can't. I don't think I've set it up fully yet because I can't get calories. It gives me steps, gives me the time.
You get calories. You need to have calories for that.
Well, you gotta put your weight in,
Get all that. You got okay. Gotta get all
weight
that
aids,
stuff.
that stuff.
And you can't lie about it, right?
No,
Yeah.
I have an air horn.
Oh.
I don't plan on using it at school, but I'm gonna keep it in my pocket. See?
Okay. Well, dude.
You like it?
What, babe?
Do you like my air horn? I don't use it though. So that's
Is it real?
Yeah.
Let's not use it in the classroom.
Let's use it in the classroom.
It'd be twice as loud.
I know.
Tyler, you are bespeaking so much wisdom this morning.
I'm gonna get the English term late. I'll just say I was in here. Alright. Sorry.
Someone's trying to call the phone.
I know. What's up with that?
They're late again.
What, hon?
They're late again.
Okay. See, let's say we're gonna be missing a few people today, but we still gotta get our stuff done. So, let's see, Jeremiah's not here today, I know that.
Oh.
Well, he's here, but he's at workability, which I consider extremely important.
I do too.
Well, Miss Ludwig and I, we've don't always completely agree. She says the disability gets in the way of the cure. That disability goes bye-bye. I need to be able to control it. So, me, I consider disability, workability extremely important. Yeah. Yeah. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. I can't do it. Okay, here we go.
On my first day of school. Why you got in so well? Calm down, little kid.
I gotta put stuff in. I haven't put things in for about 2 weeks. No, not that much. We're actually very good. Okay. So, Tyler, are you working on some homework? Please tell me you're working on some homework. Let's see. Jeremiah, something here? Work or?
Right.
Really,
Okay.
I got it in class 6.
Okay, we still have stuff to do, folks.
Then what keep on?
Is okay, pizza already in. Okay, we're good.
Are we doing the packet?
That would be awesome, but I'm not here during sex.
Okay, Mr. Peterson is not here today, Ms. Davidson.
Okay.
So,
Well, we'll see. We're probably gonna be.
Okay.
okay, I think we're gonna need Brown anymore. Brown dies too easy.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Okay, let's do this.
I have to copy it first. I have to copy it with,
Okay.
by the way, Casey didn't have coffee yesterday because she has an IEP.
Oh crap.
That's the way it works.
Why are you being so mean?
He's being mean?
Yes.
When the heck does that happen?
Every day.
Really? So there's something we don't know about Eli.
He keeps calling me a new student.
A new student? Will you remake yourself? No, please. Here. Okay. Okay, let's see, we have our, okay, that's what it's gonna be.
I'm gonna do an English packet.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, those science is what I've always hoped for. Okay, bum.
What?
You're in here for
Okay.
what?
Study skills.
He's Tyler.
Let's see, did we finish section 2 on your packet? Or did we
No.
not do it yet?
I've not
Okay,
done
Kate?
it.
Huh?
I've not done it.
No one's allowed in there.
Because we're up a little different, I gotta get something to show out.
No, you're not. No one is.
Okay, pack it out, we're gonna be rolling on that one, we're gonna be going quick.
Mr. Barlow said no one's allowed in there.
Oh, nothing like that, no teeth. Look, see,
Why
there's
are you
somebody
calling
in
me?
there, see? Meyer.
Well, he's disobeying the rules.
No, they're not, no, he's not actually.
No one's allowed in there. It's just
Hey, John,
You're not.
need to have your packet out, kiddo, because we're gonna rolling this one fast. Okay, problems and laws and agencies passed, laws passed, agencies formed, okay. Okay, I was gonna drive, I was in the way today. Okay.
I know I have the same thing.
So, number 1. Let's see. I'm gonna use this thing until it can get up. Okay, number 1. We've got
Where's your glasses?
I have contacts in. They're clear.
farmers, migrant workers, and others living in rural areas. What are the issues? Lack of work? No work? Yeah. But how about farm failures? Heavy debt, farm failure, low farm prices. That's a real big one right there. Let me hit that one real quick.
I don't know, a whole bunch of crap in that glasses.
Okay, and that cuts into everybody. That cuts into the workers used for farming, everything else. Low prices. Okay. Another thing you have is what's that word when you wash something away? Erosion, soil erosion. That's a big issue. And dust storms.
Are we finishing this bucket?
We should have finished that one.
No, I know, this
Oh,
one.
that thing. We'll be working on, that's actually for you to work on your own. I've been working in here, but everything, that's your study guide, okay? We'll give you a time to work on it in here, okay? But we gotta take care of this part.
You already know why I can't have my parents help me, you already know. I already told you.
Yeah, I know. That's what Mrs. Ludwig's for that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, and I know I'll get some scorch marks then on occasionally, but.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's not easy to work with,
Okay.
so I choose not to
Okay,
work with her.
no electricity. I wouldn't say no. Okay. Limited electric service.
Why do I have 2 packets?
We all have 2 packets.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're doing that one.
So right off the bat, we're gonna head straight into Agricultural Adjustment Act. Now, that'll be declared unconstitutional, but they'll bring it back in a different form that is constitutional. Okay? Now, is my writing big enough today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I'm sitting
Okay.
over here so I can see it.
And you know what? This is ugly now. Okay. Agri Adjustment Act, otherwise AAA. Okay? Basically, they're trying to do something about those product prices, because the product prices are what's really hammering. So they're gonna force people to basically, gonna pay people not to grow food, they're gonna force people to butcher the hogs, if there's too many hogs. People are gonna get really upset about that. There's gonna be a lot of people pissed off. Okay.
Too much crap.
Well, we don't want crap.
Yes, it messes up all of my stuff.
Right, okay. Soil Conservation and the Domestic Allotment Act. Okay, so we have soil erosion. So Soil Conservation and the Domestic Adjustment Act. No, I'm doing this something wrong here. Okay, domestic. Go through here. Allotment Act, that's right, Allotment Act. Okay. So they're basically soil conservation, because soil erosion becomes a real issue, and because the farmers aren't paying attention to it, because they could always move someplace else, or they just didn't know better. A lot of it is didn't know better. Okay, a lot of it is. Let's see here. The Resettlement Administration, they're trying to deal with the homelessness part. Okay, and I'll also put up here homelessness, because migrant workers. So we have, homelessness is a real issue with those folks. And so we have the Resettlement Administration, get these people back on land, get them Resettlement Administration. Okay. Farm Security Administration, FSA.
How much are you gonna write on that one? What is it?
Now, soil erosion, in some areas, the CC Civil Conservation Corps will be able to help out. And electrification, in many places, in the Tennessee Valley, the TVA will help out. But this is for the big stuff. Okay, so that's, but you notice somebody's busting their butts. Congress is busting their butts trying to do something. Okay. They're going to try to deal with that lone farm. I'm trying to do something with soil erosion. Limited electric service, not yet. But homelessness, definitely. Resettlement administration and farm security both going to try to get those people back in houses, back on farms. Of course, it helps the banks too, because now somebody can pay back the bank loans. Can't blame this issue on the bankers. This last one you sure can, but not this one. Okay. The next one, students and other young people. In this case, no sneaking work.
No.
No jobs. Okay? No jobs. School closures. Okay?
Ms. Brown, may I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Did anyone see Serena on the buses today?
No.
I did not.
Okay, but she
She
takes
doesn't ride the bus
she takes the
No,
car.
I
Okay.
never see her on.
Alright, thanks, Anna.
No money for school supplies. Okay? That's really an issue. So, what are we going to do about young folk? What are we going to do? Okay, we've got some issues. In this case, the National Youth Administration, NYA. Oh, let me put this guy here to say. Okay. National Youth Administration. I'm going to start using admin instead of administration. Get you used to Abbreviation.
Yeah.
National Youth Administration, in this case, NYA. Okay. It's an agency formed. Okay, the specifically provide education, jobs, counseling, and recreation for young people. Provide student aid to high schools, college, and graduate students. In exchange, students work part-time positions after school. One participant lead. Well, first of all, part-time work at your school, kind of cool. Okay, you're a high school senior. You really like to graduate, but you don't have any supplies. Well, you might get some school supplies through the NYA, but you, dude, you're going to sweep the floors with the janitors, right? Huh? Yeah, here's a broom, and you get some. Oh yeah, sure. Get some cash for that. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay, I'm doing it.
Mhm.
Boom. Okay, now I can buy school lunches. Now I can. And they helped out with other things sometimes, food and clothing. Okay. NYA was a huge one, huge. Because the problems aren't caused by kids and young people. Problems were caused by screw-ups in the preceding generation. So, we'd like to make sure that the kids don't suffer. Now, you kids suffered the last one. Not so much here, but generally crowded classrooms. We've had some crowded classrooms. We had teacher layoffs, and this district did do a lot of teacher layoffs. Now you're about to suffer again because we can't, with the teacher layoffs, too many of those teachers went and did something else, and we're not training very many right now because people just aren't going to school to become a teacher. Too risky. So now the next one is teachers, writers, artists, and other professionals. Okay. Basically, works progress administration. Okay. Well, what are the problems? No jobs. Laid off. Layoffs. Okay. That's the real major. Layoffs. No work. No work. There's just no work. Everything's laid off. Everybody's laid off. Okay. No money. So what you're going to do is the works project administration. Okay. WPA. This is one of the greatest temporary Bureau was ever set up. Okay. This, what it did was incredible. Okay. Between 1935 and 1943, it spent $11 billion to give jobs more than 8 million workers, most of them unskilled. Okay, wrong thing. Okay. But you also had many professionals who wrote guides to cities, collected historical slave narratives, painted murals on walls of schools and other public buildings, performed in theater troupes around the country. Okay. But you also had them basically paid teachers' salaries, all sorts of stuff like that. Okay. Now, all workers. I'm going to take a picture of this first, and then I'm going to wipe that out. Okay. Wow, this thing takes great pictures, I gotta tell you. Take your picture, John. There we go.
Not the day for pictures.
Huh?
Not the day for pictures. It's not the day.
It's not the day to take a picture.
No, it's not.
You're taking a picture.
No, leave me. I can't even get up with the picture. My phone's being stupid.
I hate when my phone's stupid.
Stupid phone, stupid phone, bad phone,
Stupid
stupid phone,
phone.
stupid phone.
Oh, my iPhone. Six.
They're just a hassle.
Hmm?
They're just a hassle.
Oh, you can't go without your phone.
I have for 3 weeks now.
Number 4.
So green.
Okay. Number 4, workers. Everybody else. What's the main problem with workers? All workers, including the unemployed. Well, lack of jobs. Lack of jobs. No jobs. Okay. Basically, employers too powerful. Bad things happen sometimes when an employer can do whatever they want. Employers just too powerful. There comes a time when you got to do something about that. You can't. So what we'll do with everybody, first of all, the Wagner Act, that's the National Labor Relations Act, what we call it the Wagner Act. Boom, that means it gives you the right, the flat out right, to organize, to form unions. Okay? So not just that, we've got a whole bunch of others. Okay? It also prohibited unfair labor practices such as threatening workers, firing union members, and interfering with union organizers. The act itself set up the National Labor Relations Board. This is still around. National Labor Relations Board.
I have heard of that.
Mm-hmm. What?
I've heard of that.
Yes. National Labor Relations Board. Yep. The employer does not want to take these people off.
No.
But then again, it does union. These guys often do the arbitrate. Okay? They hear testimony about unfair practices and hold elections to find out if workers wanted union representation. Okay, in 1938, basically this is 10 years into the Depression, Congress passes the Fair Labor Standards Act, which set maximum hours at 44 hours per week, decreasing to 40 hours after 2 years. It also set minimum wages at 25 cents an hour, increasing to 40 cents an hour by 1945. Well, we've already seen our California's minimum wage will be at 15 an hour by 2020, in the next 4 years. Not sure if that's going to work real well. Okay, we'll find out. We in New York did it at the same time, so we should find out whether there's going to be an economy buster or not. Too high a minimum wage. But it's one of those things is I'm willing to find out. Fair Labor Standards Act.
Oh Lord, I can't wait for
Fair Labor Standards Act. Okay, this one's in NLRB. Okay, Fair Labor Standards Act, minimum wage. Never had a minimum wage before. Okay, now have a minimum wage. Totally cool. Okay. Get enough brown out of this one? Kind of, sort of, maybe.
my
I really
tossy.
think I shouldn't use
Can I
brown.
toss it? Can I toss it?
What?
Can I toss it?
Not yet. Oh, that one's good. Okay, that'll work. Okay, number 5. I'm kind of running against the time here, so I wanted to finish this, get you guys caught up with the other class. Or get you close to caught up. You're about 8 or so behind. Okay. Now, the next one is going to be retired workers. Okay. Oh, under all workers? Disability. Okay, but I'll keep that. Okay, what do you have? Let's see, so the next one's retired workers. Okay. Savings went poof. When banks failed. Okay. Okay. Doesn't do any good. Banks failed and stocks crashed. No income. Okay, retired people. Basically, go hungry real quick. Okay, in poverty can become homeless. So what do we have? Social Security. Okay, one of the best things we ever did. That is the base for which you will not go. That is the floor. You will be provided something when you're old. Half the money is paid by you, enforced savings by you to the government, and half is by your employer. Huge thing. Huge I'm gonna put up here, I'm gonna add something here also to this. SSI, actually not quite that way, unemployment insurance. Actually, there's almost too much to add in here, okay? But also, the unemployed here, I'm gonna put unemployment insurance. Okay, so that also half employer, half employee. So unemployment insurance, okay? So remember, Social Security has old age insurance for retirees 65 or older and their spouses. Insurance is a supplemental retirement plan. Half of the funds come from the worker and half from the employer. Okay, well, so some groups are excluded. It helped make retirement comfortable for millions.
Bless you.
Unemployment compensation system. Unemployment system was funded by federal tax on employers. That's why all employers pay that. Administered at the state level. Initial payment rated from $115 to $18 a week. Aid to the family of dependent children and the disabled. This aid was paid for by federal funds made available to states. So that's just, now that one's gotten out of control. And it keeps on getting out of control and we rein it back and it gets out of control again. Okay. That one's an issue. Okay, last one, disabled, the needy, the elderly, and dependent mothers with children. Okay. Again,
Mr. Bruno, are you catching a cold?
no, it's allergies. I'm getting
Oh.
murdered. Boy, they're killing me on my sleep. Oh, my
Really?
Fitbit. Well, funny thing about the Fitbit, sometimes it recognizes you as being asleep when you've gotten up in the morning, taken the thing off and plugged it in, recharged, and it says you're still asleep. I'm
Yeah.
not still asleep. I
Yeah.
did that.
Mine doesn't do the heartbeat, and I'm a little upset about that. But I didn't want a wide one. I wanted a thin one.
Yeah, well, the heartbeat's not that important anyway.
Okay.
Mine doesn't register very well.
That-
On the
I
machine,
read
the
that
machine
in
I'm working
reviews.
on at the gym, that registers my heartbeat. I'm pumping 140 and dying here, and this thing is reading 78. No. That one I'm going, no, 78 it is not. Okay, I know that for a fact. Okay, so,
You go to the gym?
yeah, otherwise I'd be like this. I've been puffed up pretty badly before. I can't keep the weight on. My knees suffer. Really badly with weight. And I need to drop some more. I got a whole bunch of issues related to that weight. It's got to get off. Okay.
Yeah, but you're eating sugar.
Yeah, I do once in a while. I'm not perfect.
More than once in a while.
Dude, you have to bring up all my issues?
It's John.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, it's John. Okay.
I've been with
Well, you
you
can
for
say
like
it's
2
John.
years. I've been with you for 2 years and I already know.
No income.
You guys too
Okay,
expensive.
SSI again.
Huh?
I've been with Mr. Brown for 2 years. Freshman and junior.
Oh. I was not with him freshman year, so
I was free 180.
I was with him already when he last year. They don't do that anymore. They do basic reading. And I mean, the basic reading. The reading, helicopter.
The computers didn't
Aid to the family, SSI. Aid to the families to dependent children. Okay, that's for the needy and elderly dependent mothers with children. You also have, the other parts of that will be old age insurance for, it's a disability insurance is a part of that. So disability insurance. Employer pays that big time. Oh, it's hard. And sometimes people they rip me on that. Gotta be careful with that stuff. Employer.
You have a friend who has her own business.
Mm-hmm.
and that's her biggest nightmare.
Well, I have a friend of mine.
Well,
He
yeah,
basically bought an apartment complex, and this gal said, "Well, I'm the manager." Well, no, you're not. But he never put anything in writing, so he never paid her anything, and she never did any duties. But she was complaining about some wrist pain, so she went to the doctors, and now he's going to court, but he has to pay her because there's no disability insurance, and the doctors all want their money and put liens against it. He says she's not an employee of mine. But he didn't write her a note saying, "You don't work for me." That was one thing so he never did. So he's got real issues with her. He was too nice.
She's I hear you. My friend might be going a little bit overboard, but maybe I have no idea. She's got a lawyer that she cannot figure out all the ins and outs of what she needs to do. She's been burned once by an employee looking to get something, and so she hires a lawyer bookkeeper, and just leaves it in her, pays her for it because she cannot. There's just too many loopholes. You can't, and that's what she said. She's like, you can't be nice.
No, because you leave yourself so vulnerable, and that's the problem. That's there's a lot of laws that need to be overhauled because you can't be nice. Basically, everything's so litigious now. It's so rough.
Miss Davidson,
Yeah.
put your hand back in.
Yeah, there's a lot of laws we need to overhaul, but we need to carefully overhaul them so we decent people on the hook.
No,
Okay, I walked 1.7 miles.
no, and back in.
Bossy.
Okay, I'm a dead even 1 mile.
I know it hurt yesterday too because I used it. Yeah,
She told you.
not to use it.
I found out pushing a baby stroller in Disneyland will not register.
Oh really?
Yeah, because that arm has to be swinging.
Oh.
So, Miss Davidson, what are you gonna do if it just
Put it on your
keeps
ankle.
I have to get surgery. but
Band's not that big.
we've got a little over 2 months of school left.
So you
Not even 2 months of
So you
school.
want to do it during summer?
So I'm aiming for summer. Yeah. Because I need to have my nose fixed. My youngest broke my nose, but it was
Doesn't look like it.
it was a couple of years ago, and he was sitting on my lap and threw his head back
Yeah, I know, but it
laughing.
doesn't look like it needed.
No.
What's internal?
Yeah, this
Okay.
I got a block, whatever you call it. So I got a deviated septum.
Yeah, got one of those too.
Yeah, and you know what? It just I'm fine, but it makes me snore really loud,
Remember,
and I don't want to snore.
I broke mine walking across the senior lawn in high school.
That's right. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be a snorer.
Oh, I didn't know that story. I didn't know that story.
I told it. It's too funny to not tell it.
I don't think Anna knows.
Huh?
I don't think Anna knows.
What?
I would broke my nose walking across the lawn. There was a grate, a drain, senior lawn. There's a path, little kind of everybody walks across it. Well, somebody had pulled some idiot who was fooling around with stuff. Had pulled the drain off the grate a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I stepped on the corner that was unsupported, I went straight down in it, and basically the whole square grate pivoted on the other two corners, and that fourth corner just came up, and smacked me on the way down. So I'm crawling out of that thing, and got some girls laughing at me, bleeding like
Which
stuff.
never works well.
No, yeah, I mean, it was just, it came up, and this whole area was a mess. Anyway, I go, I just, wondered, I'll leave it to God to take care of whoever set that thing aside. So far, he's been less merciful than I would have been on that stuff. But anyway, went to the lieutenant's office, the administration office, because, we had actually a nurse, in those days, he had a nurse on campus all the time. And, so we go in there and stop right in front of the like, what the heck happened to you, bro? I said, this is fucking stupid, man. You got to admit, I mean, it's humiliating, but it's silly enough, man. I went down the thing, and I'm standing there, I'm just literally collecting a puddle of blood. I mean, I probably lost a pint
it just really, probably not, but it just really just bled and bled and bled. And so I talked to him, and then went in. Of course, he put me in a chair, recliner, and shoved a bunch of cotton up my nose, which they don't do these days. And so anyway, one of the four attendance girls comes walking in, and she's looking at. This is the days when we used to pick up your attendance sheets every period, and that's what you did for the attendance office. And the attendance office, and she would see the slip, and she, oh, almost slipped in something. She looks down, and of course, she's standing in the middle of a big puddle of blood, and the shriek that came out, and she's coming and screaming, somebody's bled to death outside. I'm sitting in the chair going, so somebody else is, the joke is on somebody else now.
That's actually funny.
It is. Poor girl. I kind of have to feel for the girl, but I didn't do it deliberately. And you know what? I was kind of feeling bad about myself. And of course, it was, let's see, I had to go to, get x-rays, and I broke my nose good. Straight down the center, Brian. And, everything. When I showed up the next day to, nobody said anything except my geometry teacher. I said, Farrell, what happened? You go face to face with the bulldozer? It was a old story. Got a good laugh out of that. I like that guy. That was the only math class I ever did really well at. Geometry. Good teacher too, but also with geometry. Okay, so we're going to be good with this. Let's see, we are at 9:30. So you guys,
We're gonna stop.
yeah, we're going to stop. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be into the New Deal Effects Mini Group, so we're going to test, I think, next Thursday.
What?
Yeah. Dude, you sound like a penguin going on.
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
We have two practices.
Right. One's your study guide.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, 14 and 15. You'll test on both chapters, 14 and 15.
See?
It's going to be a 50-page, 50-question
We haven't even
test.
finished.
Well, yeah, but that's one of them will be tomorrow. We did a whole page today. And one will be tomorrow. So I'm thinking Thursday. Which we'll do on Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday, sure. Like not test until Friday then. Let's see. Also, so it'll be a 50-question test. Well, covering 2 chapters, man. I usually do 25 to 30 questions. No, I'm not going to get you that hard. Okay, I can't do that. I just can't do it. It'll be about 20 questions. It's going to be fair. It's going to be reasonably
So what
broad.
about this though?
Get it done between now and Friday. Work on it.
What have we done?
Well, that's up to you. That's a choice you got to make. You got Miss Ludwig's class. She should be able to help you with that.
I did ask you.
No more comments about slipping your wrist. Okay, I don't like those comments. I know what you're thinking. No, you'll be all right. John, we'll work on that a little bit, and we'll test when we're done with everything. Okay,
See?
John, we won't test until we're done with everything. Okay. So tomorrow, actually, we'll work on the package. So we've got a couple of minutes here. I'm talking about.
I got a whole bunch of crap.
Okay, now I gotta put this aside, and it's time for my rule history. Oh, let me take a picture of this.
How you doing, Mr. Tyler?
I finished my English
had my
packet.
phone for like 5 minutes.
Nice. You want me to go turn it in for you?
Oh, sure.
Where'd you get the Tootsie Pop?
I had it in my backpack for like months.
Nice.
Don't tell me you're gonna eat that.
I
That's
just,
old.
well, I know it's old, but I don't think they expire.
If it's still wrapped, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't eat chocolate that's still wrapped. He's calling me Anna.
So I think
It's not my book, it's Eli's book.
I'm not used to it.